our wealthy place. We're going to choose a name. We're going to let Sean choose a name and see who our lucky.
Okay, don't blame me. Okay, y'all see, look, my hand is clear. Look, no, nothing on my sleeve.
Right up the sleeve.
Okay, just in case one of my kids' names.
I know, right?
Okay. All right, okay. I got a name right here. I got a name right here. One sheet of paper.
Okay. I think that's one.
Okay, that's one sheet of paper.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's a long one.
Sabian Edwards of Kenwood High School.
Yay! Congratulations, Sabian. So we
will
be in touch with you, Sabian, and the one who entered you into this shout out with a wealthy place. Didn't I tell you that was quite a bit of information we shared earlier, but also the inspiration, because you know, with this episode being entitled "Due to Technical Difficulties," and this is only a test, okay? So moving into the next aspect of our segment, I'm sure that our guests will be able to attest to some of the things that we shared earlier. We are still living in a strange time, different time, but it looks like even the different is going to become the new norm. So earlier in our some of our episodes, you remember we did our celebration of our 2020 graduates. Woo! We're still celebrating our 2020 graduates. And in the midst of that, we had a special drawing. From that drawing, the young man who won name was Sabian Edwards. And we are so grateful to be here. He already knows he was a winner, right? So we want to welcome Sabian to a wealthy place, along with Sabian's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edwards, and along with the young lady who entered Sabian into the contest is Miss Ebony Vaughan, and we will be interviewing Ebony. And I'll just give a little sidebar. Ebony's actually my cousin as well, so we have family up in the house today. But we are so excited. So we're going to come back again. Sabian, welcome to a wealthy place, and congratulations on not only being the winner of our first A Wealthy Place Foundation gifts and scholarship, which you will be receiving a little bit later, but just being able to graduate in this time. So how does it feel to finally graduate?
It's been a ride, you know. This whole entire 12 years. It's been fun. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of lessons learned.
Okay.
A lot of
Daddy and mommy coming to this door.
Yeah. All right.
Especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
I had to learn a lot. Going through elementary school to middle school, it's taught me so many lessons. And just now, just to finish it, it's just feels so good.
Now tell us, what school? Now, it was kind of covered up over with your gown, but what school are you graduated from?
Kenwood High School.
Kenwood High School. Shout out to Kenwood High School and all the class of 2020. Kenwood! Yay! You made it. You're a survivor. So what was your major? What was your major and your emphasis in going to school? What are your favorite subjects?
Well, since I went to school for sports science, I actually wanted to go to a school that had sports science or sports medicine that had something to do with sports and like a major. So like when I go to college, I'm trying to major in emergency medicine.
Wow.
But when I finish, I'm trying to go to CCBC first, and then I'm going to transfer over to Frostburg for my last 2 years and major in exercise and sports science. So I just wanted to major in something that had to do with sports.
Awesome. Well, you know, my niece went to Frostburg. You like the cold. You like the cold weather.
And the no service.
Right. How about that? Well, she went from Frostburg to Colorado.
Oh, that's, yeah.
So
real cold.
So yeah,
she liked it.
She liked the cold. So but Frostburg is a great college, and so is CCBC. That's a great college. I started off there as well myself. Yes. So you know what? It's a start. So we're congratulating you. So tell us a little bit more about your journey now. In the midst that you ever in your wildest dreams, this time last year, okay, you were psyched. You were a senior. Parents were psyched. You were a senior. So the transition from this time last year, knowing that you were a senior and all your plans and your dreams, let's talk about, rewind the clock. What were you thinking this time last year in your senior year? What were your plans and your goals?
Last year, I was planning on playing all sports, all throughout high school, like my whole entire senior year, I was just trying to play sports every single season. But then, boom, it hit me. I had to get knee surgery. Then this whole entire COVID stuff happened, and I was out of school for a whole entire month, so I couldn't play in fall or winter. And then as soon as spring hit, I couldn't play because it was COVID. And like the first game, when I knew it happened, it says my first practice of me playing, they said everything was shut down. And I was like, wow.
Oh my goodness.
You worked hard to recover from that, to react.
So your focus with your so what happened with your knee? You had to have knee surgery. Was it because of an injury, sports injury, or just you just need to have surgery on it?
I think it was it because of the injury?
Yeah, he had what they call patella instability, and we're thinking it was while he was playing football because he's always played sports. We've always had him in sports since he was about maybe 5 or 6 or something like that, and we believe it might have happened when it was football. His kneecap was sitting on the side of his leg.
See.
But whenever he would play sports, his leg would swell up or he would come out, and we never knew. We just thought, okay, well, it might have been a sprain or something like that, but then it ended up being that his kneecap wasn't in the front of his leg. It was on the side.
It wasn't attached, right?
Yeah. So they had to do a ligament reconstruction on his entire knee.
Okay, so during the course of recovery, you were motivated. You had a goal in mind. You had that football goal in mind.
He did.
And then Corona.
Mm-hmm.
Why Rona?
Yeah,
Why Rona? But you know what? But then again, talking about from the earlier part of our segment, we're talking about due to technical difficulties.
Yes.
Life happens.
Life happens.
You know, and it's unfortunate, but it's not about what happens. It's about how you deal with it after it happens.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, COVID happens, you realize no sports. What about the other activities that were supposed to be happening along with your senior year?
My prom. And first, my prom, I was getting ready. I was so happy. We went to the store, got my suit and everything. I couldn't even get it because the mall's closed.
Oh, man.
I spent all that money on a suit for nothing. And I was planning on going to somebody's military ball, but I spent money on a suit for that too.
Oh,
and
wow.
I couldn't get it.
It was a lot of preparation that just had to hold.
Mom, I'm hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had some expectations. I mean, this is your baby boy. This is your son.
My first.
Wow.
I felt robbed because I know that feeling of completion and excitement and, all of these memories and these milestones that he would not be able to experience. And it was no promise, no nothing. Oh, well, we might figure out something. No, it is what it is. It's our normal right now. But I kind of feel, like I said, I felt robbed of that experience too, because my initial reaction was, I'm walking across somebody's stage. We're going to build the stage in the back, but we're going to walk across this stage. But, I mean, it is what it is, But he kind of took it a lot better than I did. He was just like, well, Mommy, it's okay, whatever, But I know
But you waited 18 years for this.
Yes,
too.
I was ready.
Not just 12 years. You waited 18 years for
I
this.
wanted to see that. I wanted to, because I'm a big punk. I wanted to cry and do all of this kind of stuff like that, But
Make signs.
I know. Oh, because I'm
But you
quick
were
about
tight.
doing that. I'm quick about doing that.
You were tight,
Yeah,
but you know what?
but we tried to do things to celebrate and recognize him and things like that, like a drive-by. I post stuff, and at some point when it gets to be safe, where I feel a lot more comfortable, we'll have a gathering or something like that. I told him, I said, I promise you, we're going to celebrate it some kind of way. That's how I felt.
Right.
That's how I felt. I'm not sure how you felt.
Well, the opportunity was stolen, definitely because of what's going on. But I'm just happy it made it,
Right.
Especially being a young black man, being able to reach your goal, because at some point in time, I didn't think he was going to make it, because, it was like this brother here,
Sabian had,
he had behavioral problems to the gills. Yeah, he did a whole lot. But it seemed as, like after when he went to middle school, that's when things started to change a little bit, as he progressed on. And by like the 8th or 9th grade or something like that, it really kicked in to where, the maturity level.
Okay.
Because number one, he was in school a little bit earlier than what he was supposed to be.
He's not supposed to graduate until next year.
So by him he was being a little bit more immature, like kids like a year or 2 years older than him, and he behind, so he hasn't grown up and caught up with everybody else yet. Okay. So now that he's got to the high school part, he coming into his own, you know, he meeting more people, you know, expressing his feelings a little bit more, because for a lot of times he would not, in social gatherings, he would more go to the side to, you know, a couple people that he knew. Okay. Where it would made it easier for him. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As opposed to just being out in the center of the crowd. So, you know, as he got older, you know, things got a lot better. But, you know, I'm just proud of him that, you know, that he made it that far, you know, that he done exactly what he was supposed to do, because it was a headache, you know. Come home, like, you got homework? No, I ain't got no homework, you know. They ain't give us no homework. You know, we don't have this, we don't have that. I mean, you know, it was like that every day. And I'm like this, bruh, I don't know no high school that don't have no homework. Right. I don't have none, so.
And we growing up, my parents said we didn't have homework. You always got homework.
You always had plenty of homework. Yes, of course. And I'm one of those ones that I was so involved that I would even call the school before I even said anything. Good morning, Miss Edwards. Yes. This, you know. That's how involved I was with him with school. And I was determined as his mother that he gonna make it. I don't care about what's going on, what's being done. You going to make it, okay? And you need to use the resources that you have. Use me, you know? Tutoring or whatever the situation may be, because I know it's a little bit hard sometimes with young boys, especially like with math. And sometimes science and things like that. Use me. Yes. You know? And that's how we made it through. That's exactly how we made it through. And a lot of the Baltimore County Public School System staff. Because although Sabian has some behavioral issues, they loved him. They loved him, because that's the very first thing they would say. Oh, he's not disrespectful. He's just a beautiful young. But Sabian just has to sit down. He has to do the right, you know. I'm like, I got it. You know, just give me a minute and let me talk to him. I would pop up on him. I would sit in his class. It wasn't nothing for me to walk in there and just sit in the class. Sitting there and he, okay. Well, we're going to call your mother. We're going to call your father. Nope, don't call him. Don't call him. And we did all the way. We did that constantly the entire time up until maybe the 9th or 10th grade. And I told him, look, you have to be able to handle and deal with this. So we kind of step back a little bit. Okay. Just to sit back and see what he's going to do, how he's going to act. He needs to be able to develop these relationships outside of us, because he always turn around and looking at us like, well, what? No, go talk to them.
That's the safety net.
You know, what that is. We got to break that. So we started that around 10, maybe 10th grade, 9th or 10th grade, something like that. And he excelled. That's when he started to really excel.
What changed, Sabian? What happened? What was the epiphany that you received? It's like, you know what? Mommy and Daddy, they're here now, but they're not going to always be here. What was it that made that change for you?
I guess it was just me getting older. I just realized that life was getting ready to start for me. I knew that I just had to be who I needed to be to get ready for like whatever I had to do.
Awesome. We have Miss Ebony here also. Ebony, just give us. We're going to have a separate interview, but I'm loving that you're here, because tell us a little bit just about your background, because it's going to chime in with some of the things that we've been talking about, especially with the COVID, and also with what are some of the things you said, Ms. Edwards, feeling robbed. You know, and I'm sure you're not the only parent that felt that way. I mean, first of all, I want you to introduce yourself. My beautiful cousin, Ebony Vaughan. Introduce yourself for us.
So I'm Ebony Vaughan. I'm the cousin of everybody here. I'm the cousin of Sabian, and I was watching I've talked to you, and she was giving a drawing, and I was like, oh, I know my cousin. He's graduating this year. And so, you know, just entered his name into it. And I think that, you know, I agree with what everybody is saying about just having that feeling of being robbed. But I also think that in this season, what this year's students had to deal with, I believe that it can also propel them in terms of their future and really learning how to bounce back and be resilient, and how to make a very devastating, situation turn into something great. And so, I'm proud of Sabian. I'm proud of what he's accomplished and how he's evolved. And I'm listening to him talk, and I'm like, oh, okay, Sabian.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right? I'm like, okay now with his deep voice and all that good stuff. So I'm just excited, just that he has an opportunity to be celebrated, and, and that he hears, that he's being acknowledged for what he has accomplished. And I think, that is one thing that I hope that every student has the opportunity to experience, them being celebrated in their unit and, in their community, because they've accomplished something. And I think that needs to be celebrated.
Right. And I mean, it is such a momentous occasion, because when I think of, I actually, even at 50 plus years old, I still remember all my graduations. I remember my elementary school graduation. I remember my middle school, at that time was junior high school.
Yes.
Graduation. Yeah. Of course, I remember graduating from Western. And I remember, every senior day.
Yes.
Cut day, all
farewell,
yes, multiple
everything,
proms, multiple.
Yes.
And so, Sabian, I congratulate you and applaud you that you've been able to handle it as well as you have. But I've heard where there have been other teenagers who literally went into states of depression.
Yes.
They were literally depressed and, to the point of almost suicidal, because they, why did this have to happen to me? Why me? I've, waited all this time. And then why me?
So quick and sudden too.
Yes, very. I mean, how do you prepare for this? Right. But the only thing that I can say, and just words of encouragement, is that it may have taken us by surprise, but it did not take God by surprise. Right. By no stretch of the imagination. So when we think about even 17, 18 years ago, you said you're a year ahead of time. Some people are here a year ahead of time. Some are a year behind time. None of it when you were born. Not God knew this.
Yeah. Before we did.
But
Absolutely.
when you were just a thought or a twinkle in the eye of your parents, God knew. But He knew that even during the time when He created you, He equipped you for such a time as this. Yes. And so we passed the baton. We passed not only a physical paper diploma and baton to you, but there's one in the spirit realm we're passing over to you as well, because there's a special equipment that God has placed in you to help carry us through. We are in a, not even just with the corona, I mean, with everything that's going on, not just even in the United States, but all over the world, with the rioting and with the protesting, but in the midst of when there's a shaking, there's also at some point going to come a settling. And after the settling, there's the showers. And I talked about a little bit earlier on the broadcast that how you've noticed in the past, we're at the end of June, the half year mark. Some of this is so prophetic. At the end of the half year mark, the rain, the way it's been outpouring of the rain, and so many times we take the rain as being something in the negative. Well, without the rain, there is no growth. Ooh, I'm feeling that one. I felt those. Did you record that one, Jordan? Without the rain, there is no growth. And I believe that there's a rain and a shower that's being poured onto this generation, and even you graduates, that's going to help grow you and propel you into levels that you can't even possibly fathom in your mind. So again, yes, it took us by surprise. Yes, it may have been disappointing. Yes, it may have been frustration. But the other thing I will tell you, this is not the end. At all. So when you say commencement is not just so much the end. Commencement also means the beginning. There you go. We are in the midst of something, the beginning of something great. And so I believe even it's prophetic that we're recording this show on the last Sunday of June, but it will be seen on the first Sunday of July. So even in the midst of that, we're celebrating a fresh start to the end of this year. Because we've already warned July, don't come in with no foolishness.
Okay.
I've been seeing posts all over Facebook. July, go sit in your corner. Don't come with no mess.
Don't bring the heat.
But again, July's the 7th month. Completion and preparation for new beginnings. So, Sabian, that's what I'm saying to you. I'm excited that Ebony's here because we're going to take her into the next segment. But again, with the celebration, we have gift baskets here for you. We have a world globe and just some of the things that we're celebrating. Well, I'm going to speak life into you because God, this was a show that even the enemy was trying to get me not to do. Straight up until last night, call them and tell them you're not this, you're not that. And I said, no, I got you. And then I heard God say, speak life into this young man because God has anointed you and appointed you for such a time as this. You are a world changer.
Yes. That's deep. That's deep
are
right there.
a world changer. Everything that's on here has been very prophetic. You are a world changer. Okay? Don't you let anything that happens to try to come, because it's going to come. They said, due to technical difficulty. But also one of our mantras with a wealthy place, there is no testimony without the test. You've gone through the test, my brother.
Yeah.
Now God said it's time for the testimony. So you are a world changer. And there's so many other things. I'm sharing this and everything on here. This table's going to you, but just, what does this say?
I am in a wealthy place. Inspire, motivate, educate, join the journey.
Join the journey. Life is a journey. It's not always about the destination. The destination's going to be there. But enjoy the journey, okay? This right here, 2020. What's that word? Focus. You gotta have focus. And what's going to help you focus? This book right here. You outline your goals. What it is you want to achieve in life. What it is that you're looking to stay focused. Next word is?
Achieve.
What's the next word?
Adventure. Succeed. Create. You got this. Way to go. Dream big. Go for it. Congrats, Greg.
Congrats, Greg. So there are some other
She great cry.
But look, you know what, Mom and Dad, do you have anything that you want to say? Go ahead and say
He
before.
know that I am absolutely proud of him, and I feel like, and I told him before, I said, it's not just you graduating, it's me graduating too, because I've been through the journey from the very, very beginning, from the very first pain, from the very first taste of metal in my mouth, you know? And I told him, I said the other day, I said, do I tell you I love you enough? He said, yeah, you did. I said, well, let me tell you again, I love you. You was my first everything. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm going to be there for this journey, too.
Did he change your
this
world?
beginning. He sure did.
Your world changer?
I never knew love like that before. From the first time, although I was scared to take him home. Because I had him late. I was in my 30s when I had him. It was a surprise, but I was ready for it. I was a little scared. I asked the nurse, matter of fact, when I had him, it was time to go home. I said, well, can you keep him one more day? She was like, no, sweetie, you have to take your baby home with you. I said, well, what is the first thing that I do? She said, you'll figure it out. And I think we figured it out together. I think we did. It was a joy raising you, Sabian. I feel like I'm still raising you. Yeah, because you're not grown.
How about it?
That's how I feel.
You've grown up, but you're not grown.
Yes, and I know, even at the times when you didn't think that you can do it, I always knew you could do it. I always knew that. That's why I'd be like, you got it, come on. Let's just do it, let's get it, come on. And that's why I always talk to you and I try to instill the things that I've learned and my experiences and stuff like that. And that's why no holds barred, I share everything with you, even sometimes when I should. I do, because I know that there's going to come a time in your life where you may need that.
Yeah.
So that's why I continue to do that. That's why I'm just so open. with everything. But I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Proud of you, Steve. Dad, any words?
No, I don't really think about that cat. But anyway, no. No, you know what really makes me smile a lot, though, you know, when I think about him, because when he used to play T-ball, he made him about 5, 6 years old. He was out there, instead of, you know, concentrating on the game, he was out there kicking rocks and looking at butterflies. That's what he was doing. So to see him grow from that little person to the person he is today, which is a lot stronger, you know, a little bit more wiser, you know, he's still in the teaching stage, you know, because he's going to learn every day. So it doesn't matter. And I mean, I'm just happy that he's made it to the point where he can do a lot for himself. As opposed to somebody have to always stay on him. Look, Sabian, you need to do this. Sabian, you need to do that. You know, that kind of thing. Even though all of that still transpired, but as a parent, your job is never done. So I'm just happy. I'm proud of him. You know, I will kiss him right now, but you know, hey, we're on TV.
We'll get a picture of that. But it's all good. It's all good. Well, Sabian, we also want to sow into your life. So this is a card, just words of encouragement. But we also want to sow this $500 into your life. From a wealthy place.
I'm gonna need my money.
So even though it's $500 today, we're hoping and we're believing God by this time next year for a wealthy place to be able to sow from 500 into 5,000, and from 5,000 to 50,000, and from 50,000 to 500,000, from 500,000 to 5 million, to be able to continue to sow into young people's lives. And I think about how Robert Smith was able to just wipe out the debt of individuals. Well, he said God knew it. I wasn't even thinking about a wealthy place when you were born, but he saw today back then. And so even with that, you've changed our world because God knew back then. So congratulations. A wealthy place loves you. We look forward to having you back here this time next year, you know, to be able to give us some progress and also be an encouragement to another young person who would have just crossed over at the plateau into the platform, and being able to, by then, you will be a year wiser.
Yes.
You'll be a year able, have a year of more knowledge and understanding that you'll be able to impart to someone else. So, Sabian, congratulations. Anything you want? Any closing remarks, Sabian?
I want to say thank you to Ebony for putting me into this. Because if you didn't, I would have never had any of this stuff from you. Just thank you, and Mom, and Daddy, for raising me to the man I am today.
Man.
Okay. Man I am today.
All right.
Young man. He won't be a man so bad, bro. Let me tell you.
Thank you.
Slow down.
For bringing me onto this show.
Oh, it was my pleasure. My pleasure. Well, we're excited. We're going to continue to stay connected with Sabian, as well as Sabian's parents, as well as Sabian's family. And we'll keep you posted. You can always go to our website that I will also keep you informed through www.awealthyplace.org. And again, we're just so excited. Again, congratulations to all the 2020 graduates. We celebrated all through the year. And just a footnote also, for all of those whose names were entered in during that episode, we do have a special A Wealthy Place swag bag, gift bag, celebration, success package, whatever you want to call it. We do want to celebrate you as well, and we will also have a monetary. Well, it won't be $500, but there will be some dollars. So we will be in touch with you soon. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back with A Wealthy Place.